So welcome back, and in today's video we are going to look at a nice concept called the super keyword. So being that we are still dealing with inheritance, I'll create two classes, one inheriting attributes from the other. So class A will be my super class, and class B will be my child class. So inside my main method, I'll create a new instance of class B. So I'll say class B. So class B new instance is equal to new class B, something like this. So in my class here, I'll say extends. I want class B to extend attributes of class A, something like this. So when I run and compile, I'm expecting to get nothing. Yeah, you can see that I'm having nothing. So instead of having null values, what I will do is that I'll create a constructor for both classes. Simply, constructors, for those who are not familiar with constructors, I already have a video explaining how constructors work. So I'll create a constructor for A. In this case, create a constructor for A. Simply, a constructor will help us give default values to classes. It's, because each and every time the class is mounted, in this case, when you don't have any values, we expect to get null values. So to get away with this problem, Java introduced the constructors, which help us give default values to our classes. So I'll say this is a constructor for A, class A. I'll do the same thing here. I'll create a constructor for class B, say constructor inside here. I'll say system.printout. This is a constructor for class B in this case. So each and every time this object is mounted, but keep in mind B is extending attributes from class A. What do we expect? We are expecting two constructors to be outputted in this case. So when I clear this, run and compile, we are able to access the two constructors. Hopefully I'm clear. Why are we able to access? Because B is extending attributes for A, and here the instance that we are creating is for B, the class B. So that's simply the constructor. So we go to the next thing. The next thing we are going to look at is the super keyword. The super keyword in Java is used to refer to the parent class or the superclass. It helps us access parent class methods, constructors, and variables inside a child class. Let me say I want to access this constructor when I am in the child class. Let me say I want to access this constructor because this is our superclass in this case, or this is our parent class, and I want to access, or I want to print out the constructor from class A. What will I use? I will say here inside my constructor for class B, I will use the super keyword. The super keyword simply is just a method which helps us access parent methods, classes, and variables. In this case, I use examples of constructors, but you can try out methods, you can try out variables, among others. So simply the super keyword helps us to access values of the parent class in this case. So when I run, and the other thing, after you using the super keyword in the child class, simply each and everything in your parent class will be called first. So when I compile and run, after using, you see that this is a constructor for A. Constructor A has been called and constructor B has been called. So if I want to access attributes of a parent class, I use the super keyword. So I'll make it more interesting. So what if I want to pass values here in my constructor? Remember, the constructors, we can pass values. So I'll say I'm passing like 5 in this case. 5. When I reach here, I'll create second constructor, but this second constructor is expecting a number, so I'll say int number, something like this. So I'll do the same thing for B. int number, and B is expecting a number, in this case, which is our constructor. So when I run and compile, you will see something more interesting. You see that we are able to access construct. So I'll first come here, remove this. No, besides removing that, this is a constructor for A having a number. I will just change this. I will do the same thing for here. This is a constructor for B having a number. So when I run and compile, in this case, first look at this. When I run and compile, you will see that this is a constructor for A and this is a constructor for B. This is the one being printed out, not this one, but this is the one being printed out. And when we go to class B, B in this case, this is the one being printed out, not this. Simply because when you pass a new value to this object, what will Java do? Java will go in your, remember class B is extending attributes from class A. Java will go in your class A. It will look at the first constructor, or in this case we use constructors. It will look at the first constructor that we created without any arguments. It will first call that, and it will come in the same thing, or in the same way. It will look at class B and it will find that class A or class B is the one that you passed the arguments, and it's the one that you created here, the instance. So it will ignore this one and it will do the same thing here down. It will call here. It will call the second constructor having the arguments that you passed. That's simply how things work. So I have another thing that I want to do. So what if I don't pass here? What if I don't pass here arguments? Yeah, and what if I don't pass the arguments? And I first remove this. You see that here this one is not accepting because we are trying to create a constructor, or we are trying to pass arguments to we are trying to pass arguments to a constructor which does not which isn't expecting any arguments. So I would put that back. So simply, a superclass will help us in this case access attributes of class B. I repeat again, a superclass will help us access attributes of the parent class. In this case, the parent class is class A. That's simply what a superclass does. So that's it for today. Thank you very much.